Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug podcast. I'm Aeron X, the Egyptian Death Machine. Joining me this week for a very special interview is one of my favorite people. People who know me know that I work at Rumble Wrestling as a videographer. And you can't talk about Rumble Wrestling without talking about the muscliest of men, that is Adam Muscles Mansfield. Welcome to the Wrestle Plug.
Hello, thank you. Welcome. I very appreciate you having me on.
It's a pleasure, mate. An absolute pleasure. I'm not entirely sure what you're up to at the moment. You look like you're looking into the distance. What's going on, mate?
All right, it's my camera. I'm looking at me thing, and I'm looking at my camera. I'm not very technical, so I do apologise.
Mansfield is a throwback, ladies and gentlemen.
I am indeed.
Old school British wrestler. Right, Muscles, I know what you're all about, but maybe the audience doesn't. So let's start from the beginning and work our way to present day.
Okay.
First of all, how long have you been in wrestling for now?
So I've been in the wrestling business for about 29 years this year. Next year, I'll be coming up to the magic 30 years.
Awesome.
Started when I was 15. Just before I left school, I was doing my exams as well. Found a school down in Folkestone, Kent, on literally like the edge of some cliffs in a lock-up garage called the Hammerlock School of Wrestling.
Beautiful.
And amongst them that I started with was Doug Williams, Dean Ayers, Alex Shane was there. And then I met Justin Richards along the line. And a few more came along after that. The likes of Johnny Storm, Jody Fleisch, Fergal Devitt, Paul Tracy, Johnny Moss. Obviously, they came into the other training schools where we moved, because it was in Folkestone first. Then it moved to Ashford, and then it went to Sittingbourne.
And you've been to all of them, mate.
I've been to all of them, every one of them.
29 years in the business. Yeah. It's funny because all those names you've mentioned are like the who's who of wrestling, royalty, aren't they? Like, we all know who those guys. Well, anyone knows who those people are, unless you've been living under a rock. But not many people, when they talk about the pillars of British wrestling, the authentic veterans of British wrestling, mention your name as much as they do the others. Is that fair to say?
Well, yeah, it's fair to say. I mean, I kick well. The thing is, they could afford to make it a career and go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas me, I'm just happy doing what I'm doing. I mean, I'd like to have been in their position. God almighty, would I like to have been in their position? But along the lines, you've got to realise, can I do this as a career? Have I got to like get a proper job to support it as well? It's just when you get your lucky breaks as well, I suppose. I mean, you could get spotted and then get out flight. I mean, the place to go is Japan. And then obviously from Japan and there on in, then you can conquer America. If you conquer America as well, then you can make a career and go with it. Because I know over the years in Britain, since the world of sport died, you couldn't really make a living off of it as such. Not to have a steady income, because you've got to constantly work. I mean, back when the world of sport was on the television in the late 70s and the early 80s, I was reading a book called The Wrestling, and then they were getting bookings every day, so they were working like every day of the week, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
More or less, so they could make a living out of it. But that's when you had the two promotions, joint promotions, and All Star. Not All Star, I can't remember the one it was, but it was joint promotions and another one. That ruled the British wrestling scene then. But as soon as the world of sport come off the telly, to make any sort of a living out of it, you need to travel. Just not in Britain, you need to travel worldwide. Yeah. Really. So that's when really I had to make a choice, because like it was just me and my mum at home. We weren't well off. You know, so I'm a postman now. Well, I've been a postman for like 20 odd years, but then I wrestle on the side as well, you know. So I had to do that, because I thought that was just going to be a stopgap. First of all, I thought I'll just do this postman job, and then I make it big. I'll break out and I make it big. But things have happened, injuries have happened as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy doing what I'm doing, picking up the odd bookings here and there. My passion for it is still there. It's never died, you know. And I'm just, I like to think that I'm honest and truthful with anything I say with regards to anybody and anything to do with it, you know.
Yeah. 29 years is a long time to be a
Yeah,
wrestler. Like
yeah,
most guys, their bodies won't hold up that long. What's the
no.
secret for you? Is it because maybe you haven't worked as regularly as maybe other guys like Doug and stuff like that, or is it just conditioning? You know, how have you been able to last 29 years and still to this day entertain fans the way you do?
It's about, I guess. I mean, I've been, as I have been in the game 29 years. Yeah, you're right, and I haven't had as much bookings as like the Dougs and the Johnny Storms and the Jody Flashes, you know, and everybody else, because at the end of the day, I had to consider my proper job as well, and that was more of a steady income for me. I couldn't really gamble on what I wanted to do passionately, you know, but I just thought keeping it as a passion as well, and not letting go of a dream. I still love it. I'm not falling out of love with it, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but and as far as my wrestling works goes, you know what I mean, I can't do what I used to do. I mean, I try and do newer things and keep up with the younger talent, you know. But yeah, my work style has changed, you know, drastically. Like I'm not flying about as much as I used to. I take the bumps when I need to take the bumps.
Yeah.
So I just have to more mouth more than ever now. You know what I mean? I just have to work smarter. You know, if I knew that then what I do now, you know what I mean, I wouldn't have so much aches and pains as I've got now. I've still got the aches and pains. Don't get me wrong. I've got my knees are shot to pieces. That's combined with the job and wrestling. My back's gone. My neck. I've got limited movement in my neck as well now. Fractured and dislocated my right elbow. I've had numerous amount of mild concussions as well when I first started. You know, but that was when I was younger. But nowadays, I just have to work smarter.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. I still think you're a very entertaining wrestler. Like you still have a great place.
Thank you.
Watching you at Rumble, like one thing that's really lovely for me is that I've been at Rumble almost a year now. And when I first started recording for Rumble, you know, you were always a very entertaining, good wrestler. But I've noticed that over time you've started working towards the camera more. There's been more character work. There's been a lot more, even more entertainment value. You know, you play a fantastic villain. People love to hate you, especially the Rumble crowd, which is a really good old school traditional wrestling crowd, you know, proper like thoroughbred fans. A lot of them still believe in the magic that we're trying to provide for them. How do you stay relevant? I know you said like, you know, you only take bumps when you need to, you don't fly around as much, but how do you cope? Because, you know, I've seen you wrestle guys like KM Lane and, you know, and Sid Manelli, and these are young lads kind of hitting their prime, hitting their stride. You know, is it easy still to wrestle guys like that? Or do you find yourself thinking, cool, blimey, like, is it difficult to keep up with them?
Well, yeah, good question. Well, my age, Sid Manelli says, he always jokes with me. He says, good job not wrestling you tonight. Your boots won't leave the ground, will they? I says, well, that's it. What do you mean? No,
that's his job.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I as I said, it's just the passion for me for it. You know, trying to like be there for the youngsters as well, like because they're new into the business, right? I'm at the tail end of the business as well. I'm at the tail end of my wrestling career. You know, I know I'm not going to be lasting that much longer. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, I hope I can last as long as I can. You know.
Yeah.
But reality starts to check in. You know what I mean? Every bump I take and every bump I'm feeding, I'm doing with them. You know, it's like I'm trying to keep up, everybody with them. You know. Sid always has a joke with me in the ring because I put him in a rest hold. And he says, "Are you knackered?" I says, "Yes." We resting. I says, "Yes." He understands my style of working. Whereas the KM Lane's like brilliant worker. Can't fault him. I always try and keep up to try and make him look good, and I think that's a secret to a good villain is try and make your opponent look good.
Yeah.
Or that's a good wrestler. I say a good worker. You always try and make your opponent look better than you. You know. But yeah, keeping up with them is another story. You know what I mean? Like my fitness is not there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's there a little bit, but it's not there. I do feel it at the end of the day. I get back in the curtain, I just collapse. But as I said, the passion for it is always going to be there for me.
Yeah, like I'd like to think that what's keeping you going is, you know, there's still definitely a bit of fitness, because you can't be a wrestler if you don't have some
Yeah,
fitness. But at the same time, there's a lot of heart there. There's a lot of drive still. I can
yeah,
still see the showman in you coming out, you know, and you
yeah.
still garner such a great response from people. Is it fair to say that you're leaning far more on character stuff now? Because in the modern age as well,
Yeah,
anyone can work, you know, and wrestle, but not everyone can be a character. Not everyone can connect with an audience. You can still do that.
yeah. That's right. I mean, I do rely on the character side a lot more. Where sometimes I think it does get forgotten, like the showing out a bit more. It's just like wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. Especially on family shows, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
that started in the rest, like just the wrestling style, and like putting on a pure wrestling match would work. It does work for like in the indie style, I reckon, personally. But then there is room in the indie scene to show out a lot more and have a little bit more of a character. Take Mayfair's, for example. He does his character work on Rumble shows, and then when he goes to like the Progress, he does a bit of character work there as well, and that also works there as well in a way. Which he's a very talented young worker as well. It's like lovely to see him in the Rumble promotions. And I see clips of him doing bits and bobs in other promotions. I see it, like he's doing so well for himself, which is good to see.
Yeah, he's becoming a megastar, it's very cool that we get to work with him and we get to spend time with him. And you know, at your age, I imagine a lot of guys are coming up to you asking for advice and things like that. What's the sort of main thing that you're able to impart on other guys in terms of wisdom and knowledge? Like, what's the first thing that you kind of see that you think these young guys need to learn this more so than anything else?
My advice to the younger talent that's coming through is just stay relaxed, stay positive, enjoy it. Yeah. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. If you enjoyed the match and no one comes out with an injury, that means you've had a good match. Yeah. If you haven't killed anybody, you've had a good match. You know. Yeah, but less is more. I was always say to them.
Yeah.
Always let them have. Always let the fans want him more. Don't give them everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that are guilty, aren't they, of like going out there and they're given 10, 15 minutes and they try and cram as much
everything in. You don't need to cram everything in.
Don't get a chance to breathe.
Exactly. Always try and tell that story. You know what I mean? Because like the fans do like a story. Yeah, because that's what we do. We tell a story of our bodies. It's physical theatre, isn't it?
Yes.
So we tell a story, and we want to create moments as well. Like always creating a moment in certain points of a match. So just try and just keep everything calm, stay relaxed, and enjoy it. That's what I always say to them.
You've openly admitted that, you know, like you're not going to be able to go 20, 30 minutes at full pace. You know, you're going to be a character guy. You're going to tell a story more. Who do you think is the perfect opponent for you right now in Rumble? Because that's a place where you get such a great breed of different wrestlers.
Yeah. Oh God. Tell a story wise, I'd love to tell a story with Tate Mayfair's. I reckon he'll be good to tell a story with. Sid as well is always good to tell a story with as well. I would say them two in Rumble. Tate and Sid is my two opponents that I love to tell stories with.
What I like about Sid Manelli is that it's very old school, but with the athleticism as well. You know, he's like an old soul, Sid, and maybe that's because of his dad, his old man as well. That probably helps a lot, and obviously being around the right people. But what I love about Sid is that he's a great professional wrestler, but he's a great showman as well. He's all about showing out. He's Rumble's John Cena in a lot of ways. You know,
he is. Yeah.
Is it easier to work with a guy. Like, for instance, if I said to you, you've got 5 years left, you can kind of cherry pick who you want to wrestle. Who, is it fair to say that wrestling guys like Sid, you're going to last a bit longer than maybe if you were stuck in there with Cam Lane or Jake O'Grady on a weekly basis?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'd last a lot longer with Sid because Sid always says to me, "I'll look after you. Don't worry about that." You know what I mean? I can always have a laugh with Sid as well, or we have jokes in the ring. But it's just so easy. I mean, we can just go in there and call a match on the fly. We don't even have to talk anything. We just go do this, do that. Yeah, fine. And we go out there and do it. He's just got so much experience now at such a young age. He'll be one of the ones. If he broke out even more, I would love to see him break out even more into other promotions as well, because he'll have so much to give. But I know he's happy doing what he's doing.
Yeah, he's comfortable, isn't he?
He is comfortable. Yeah. I mean, when I first worked him at a UKPW show years and years ago, and he was only young. And then when I first worked him there, I thought, okay, he's got something. I know he's got something that's there, and he's just developed himself even by himself even more. You know what I mean? And then when I worked him like 2-3 years later, mate, it was like wrestling a different person. And that first match I had with him, or that first wrestling match I had with him, I was trying to pull him through. Now he pulls me through. I'll just say to him, "What are we doing now?" And he'll lead it. I'll just go, "Do this, do that." Okay, fine, go. And I'm just make sure that I'm there for him, and then make sure he gets that shine. But Sid all day. Yeah, Sid all day long. He's like just so easy.
Yeah, even I could probably have a half decent match with Sid.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes because I'm a terrible wrestler. 29 years. Next year will be 30.
Yeah.
What's left on the bucket list? Do you still have goals? Because
I still have goals. Yeah. I mean, I want to try and make a progress show or a new company, a Riot Cabaret show. I still want to do that. If I can, it'd be wonderful. I still want to I'd like to wrestle numerous amount of people that's on the scene today. Like, obviously, I like to work with Tate Mayfair's Nino Bryant. I like to work with. There's still a few wrestlers out there I still want to work with. I'd love to have a match with Doug as well. At some point again. I've wrestled him once in 29 years, but I'd love to have a match with him. Yeah, I mean, I've still got things on the bucket list I still want to do. Whether I can achieve those, I don't know. I've achieved most of the things on my bucket list in life, which I'm proud of. One of them was to be a wrestler, which I am. Another one is to run the marathons, which I've done 7 of them. Another one is to attend WrestleMania, which I've done. Yeah, and that's it. And parachute as well, jump out of a plane. I've done that as well. So my bucket list is growing a bit thin at the moment. I need to get some more in there, if you know what I mean.
Revisit it, mate. Need to revisit it. We'll sit down and write a new one at the next show.
Yeah.
Put a match against me on the bucket list, then you'll definitely look good.
Definitely, yeah. I'll have a match with you any day.
I'm dreading the day when Stephen's like, "We haven't got anyone here. Can you jump in?" Oh crap! I always have my gear in a boot, but I don't tell him because
good professional. Always carry your stuff.
Terrified, mate. I'll be dead after like 2 minutes. I know what I'm like. I'm like plating. I like to hit hard, hit fast, and get out quick as well. That's my kind of thing. But no, I look at you and I love what you do, and I know that there's probably people out there that would sniff it a little bit because they're so used to watching the Young Bucks and the Kenny Omegas, these highlights. They're so used to watching guys like KM Lane. Nothing wrong with that; those guys are fantastic.
No,
but
absolutely.
I still love seeing showmen because when I was a little kid, my granddad, he would watch World of Sport reruns.
Yeah.
When he was young, he used to be friends with a lot of these wrestlers. So he would go and watch the shows and he would help out shows and things like that. So for me, it was like, I was growing up watching showmen, not high work rate guys. You still had guys like Finlay who were putting on great matches, Valiants, things like that. But then you also had on the flip side of it, you had these amazing, big, large and life characters like Haystacks and Big Daddy. And I look at you And I think world of sport. Like, I look at you and think that's a world of sport wrestler. You know, you would have absolutely killed it on world of sport. Do you feel like you're a kind of like a, you know, one of the last of your kind? Do you ever feel like that when you turn up at shows, when you see all these chiseled lunatics running around at a million miles an hour? When you see Nino Bryan, do you sit there and think, God, I do feel like I'm one of the few that's left? Or do you like that because obviously you add something different that not many guys are doing?
See, when I started, we was doing all what the Ninos are doing today, and the KM Lanes are doing today. We was one of the like Hammerlock was like a pioneer promotion, like a pioneer wrestling school, and then it turned into a promotion as well. So it was pioneering the wrestling scene as well. So people were doing like SI moonsaults and like tilt the worlds and like 360 bloody splashes and like, you know, all the malarkey. You know what I mean? A lot of the workers were doing that back in Hammerlock. So we sort of like pioneered. So it's nothing new I haven't seen. I mean, in the Hammerlock days, we tried to. We had such a mixture. We had like world of sport type wrestling as well, as well as with the newer stuff. Because don't forget, Hammerlock was like in the early 90s, and then when we were doing shows, it was going in 95, 96, 97, when the ECW was like about, and when we was watching, when like a lot back then, you had a lot of tape traders, didn't you?
Yeah.
So people was getting hold of these tape traders, like a lot of the wrestlers that was in Hammerlock was like getting a hold of these tape traders. We was like watching it on videos, like bad copies of it as well. But we were seeing all these moves, like all the moonsaults, like when Sabu was moonsaulting through a table and Rob Van Dam doing these coast to coast and things like that. So we was experimenting in that in Hammerlock as well, you know. And we had workers that was experimenting with that, but then also we had workers that was doing traditional world of sport stuff. So for me, seeing it now, I don't really feel out of place. I just feel like, okay, he's good and he's doing what he's doing, but I hope his knees are going to last if he carries on.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Lads who aren't wearing knee pads, they scare the crap out of me. I'm like,
I know, yeah.
Nah.
I mean, back in the day, I mean, I used to do all the triple moonsaults and things like. No, I couldn't do it back in the day. You know, I was always that grounded wrestler. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think most high flying I could always do was like a drop kick off the top rope. I used to do. Couldn't do that now. My knees are shot to pieces. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. You know. And plus now I'm even more scared to go on the top rope.
Yeah, I don't like getting up there. I get vertigo,
no,
man.
Exactly. So back when I was started and doing shows, I was more grounded. So I was always the catcher for these dives on the outside and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always put my body before like catching my opponent, if you know what I mean. So I made sure they were safe. You know.
What's the biggest difference, do you reckon, between when you started to now? What's the thing that you look at most of the core? Not in my day, not at the beginning when I first started.
How do you mean? I don't know how.
Like in terms of like, because obviously you would have started sort of in the early 90s when Hammerlock came around.
Yeah.
It's safe to say the business was very different then. What's changed the most? What kind of stands out to you the most when you go to shows now? What do you think? Oh, that's not something that I had the luxury of, or that's not something that I would have ever seen 20, 30 years ago.
Oh, all the schools that are about now, you know. There's so many different wrestling schools now. I mean, back when I started, we only knew one wrestling school, which was Hammerlock. You know, I think and then all the facilities they've got now, like down in Play Fight, like where I coached down in Play Fight in Woolwich, Tom Dawkins' gym. Like the facilities and like this level of support that they give there as well. It's like it's just anywhere. Like if you go to a good wrestling school, if you've got that level of support, and you've got like changing rooms and things like that, it's so comfortable now to go. Right, and that's the ultimate thing, that you need to be as comfortable in a wrestling gym. Because you can't be uncomfortable. Because when I started, it was that place or no place, you know. So it was very hard school. And it was very disciplined as well. But now, yeah, the level of comfort now is more so. I think you still have that little bit of a discipline there,
Yeah.
But the environment of things, you know what I mean? Back
Guys are
then,
a lot more relaxed now, aren't they? There's a lot more.
yeah,
They chat a lot more as well. Like,
yeah,
yeah, my
yeah,
first exposure of a locker room was, you know, as a younger lad, not wrestling, but kind of being in there and watching other people that I knew or worked with. And, you know, it was very quiet. Like,
yeah.
they would go through their matches and they would sit there very quietly. They would do their warm ups. There was, you know, nobody was chatting about what video games they were playing, what movie they were going to
No,
see. None of that sort of stuff.
no,
Whereas, which is nice in a way that it is
yeah,
like that now, because it makes it easier for you to relax, you know, because I'm still one of these people don't realize it, but I get very anxious, very nervous, like at
yeah.
shows. You know, I'm still kind of where I haven't wrestled that long. I've only been wrestling about 3.5 years. So for me, I'm still
Wow.
very kind of like, oh, blimey. You know, it still makes me very nervous. And obviously now I'm doing the video stuff now. I don't have time to
Yeah,
wrestle that much, sadly. And to be honest, like, as you know, there's not that much money in the game anyway. You know,
no,
we're all doing it as a hobby. Even me, I'm
yeah,
doing it as a hobby and I'm working on the farm in a week. So, you know, and I don't think anybody really gets to work full time anymore unless they're truly at a next level, like a Tate Mayfair's or something like that. You got to have
exactly.
that extra
And
level
you got,
people haven't got.
yeah, and the commitment as well. You've got to have so much commitment to it. It's
Yeah.
either it's do or die, basically.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And if you can afford to do it, do it. If you can't afford to do it, think carefully.
Yeah,
I
like
always say.
would you say that because obviously I meet a lot of guys, you know, the serious wrestlers, you know, I trained at Rev Pro for a while. They take things very seriously. There's nothing wrong with that. But
No,
they're very much of the opinion that you're either a full-time wrestler or you're not a wrestler at all. Do you agree with that?
no. I mean, anyone that laces a pair of wrestling boots and gets it and has the balls to get in the ring, to me, they're a worker. You know what I mean? They've gone down. They've gone into a wrestling training school. Going into a wrestling training school can be very daunting. Can be
Mm.
very daunting indeed. So for someone to have that courage to go into a wrestling school and be able to take the bumps what we take, right, and be able to do it, gets my vote of confidence. You don't have if you're not a full time. See, if you're not a full, you can either be a full time wrestler or part time wrestler. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You
Still a
wrestle.
wrestler.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You might not get as many bookings as a full time wrestler because because that's their job. That is their livelihood. You know what I mean? And that's what they got to do. They have to seek them bookings out and get booked all the time. You know. But for me, I have to think about other stuff as well. Um, yes, I am a part time. I consider myself as a part time wrestler. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm not a wrestler.
Mm.
I just don't got I just don't get the many bookings as what like Johnny Storm would used to get or Jodie Fleisch would used to get. You know what I mean? Um, I still had to think about. I still have to be very level headed of where I need to go with it as well. If I
Yeah.
did get that, I mean, I could. It's like in football, isn't it? When you play football, like soccer, or like people play it part time at a weekend, and then do the job. Now, if a scout was there, talent scout was there, they could go, oh yeah, we could sign you to such and such, then you could be a full time football player. Doesn't mean you're not a football player because you're still playing football, aren't you? Whether it's part time amateur or professional or full time professional, you're still playing football. So yeah, it's like I don't see there is a difference between part time and full time. You're still lacing on a pair of boots. You're still going out. You're trained to what you want to do. You're living your dream and you're doing it.
Yeah.
Even if it's like you do get like 2, 3, 4 bookings a year, you're still living your dream and you're doing it. How many people can they say that has lived their dream or has got a dream and they're living their dream of doing what they want to do?
Yeah.
For me, it was always when I was a kid and I watched it on World of Sport and then I watched it when the WWF was on. Can I say WWF or WWE
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. No, you'll be right. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Vince
So
ain't going to sue us now, is he?
no, exactly. But when I watched it, when the World of Sport come off the end and I watched it and I got wind of the WWF back in the 90s, and then I see this colour on the television screen that my mates introduced me to, and I was like, heard about what's going on because I always knew in the world of sport. I fell in love with it. And from about what I say 13, 14, I think I want to do this. I want to give this. I want to be a wrestler. I want to do this wrestling. I want to be a wrestler. I want to going to wrestle. My career teacher said to me, he says, "What do you want to do as a career?" I says, "I want to be a wrestler." He says, no. What do you want to do as a career? I says, "I want to be a wrestler." If that careers teacher saw me now, see what he says now. You know what I mean? I might have not been doing it full time, and I can't live off of it. Well, I'm not living off of it, but it's like, for me, it's like pin money here and there, which is nice, you know. And I'm living my dream. I'm living my dream as a wrestler. That 15 minutes out of normal life is a dream, and is a dream for me because that's what I like to do. You know, I enjoy it. You know, it's a passion.
Who was your biggest hero when you were a kid before you started?
Before I started,
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
Really?
Everyone was a Hulk Hogan fan.
Yeah, that's fair. He was Mr. Wrestling, wasn't he?
Of course he was. Everyone was a Hulk Hogan fan. Just the way he showed out and things like that. I mean, that's what I have learned over the years as well. It's just like I watch and study how the wrestlers move on the television, how they get their reactions and how they do, and just watch every bit of what they do, when they do their moves, why they do their moves, when they show out, when they like plead to the crowd, you know, like the villains as well as the baby faces. You just watch and study what they do, and you think, okay, they do this, they do that, and then I give it a go, and I think, oh, that worked. So they, you know what I mean? They've been doing it for like umpteen amount of times. You know what I mean? They do it every night of the week. You know, so just watching them on the telly, on how they do things and how they react. I mean, they do wrestle for TV nowadays a lot, but back in the 80s and the early 90s, yes, they wrestled for TV, but they also wrestled for the crowd as well. If you notice, back in the early 90s, they didn't just wrestle for the television; they wrestled for the crowd, and they played out to the crowd, which got the reaction what they needed as well. Which
That's something, you know, I'm very lucky.
I
was going to say, I'm very lucky because I get to work for so many different companies as a videographer, and then I do a little bit of wrestling here and there.
Yeah.
And then I do refereeing and commentary and MCing, and I basically will do anything in wrestling. And the amount of guys that I've watched who have, it's great. You get two kinds of guys: those that are terrified of the camera, and then those who want to learn to work in front of it. I've always been I was very flattered that you would come up to me and ask me, "Oh, how's my camera work doing?" and stuff like that. Because, you know, that's Adam Mansfield. He's like a veteran. He's a legend in my book. So you know, I'm sitting there thinking, what's he asking me for? I'm just some fat scrub with a camera, and you know. But at the same time, I've noticed, like, what I love about you is you've been in this business 29 years, and I've been recording you for a year. And from the start of that year to the end of that year, your skills and your crowd work have improved tenfold towards the camera as well as the audience. So that shows that it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business, you can still learn, you can still get better. Who stands out to you right now on TV, like on the mainstream? You know, if you're looking at WWE or AEW or whoever it may be, who's the wrestler that you look at and think, I still love watching that guy I really enjoy?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I could be biased here, right? I could be biased. If I go for a biased opinion first, right?
Sure.
It'd be Fergal, right? Finn Balor. Yeah.
That's understandable, though, isn't it? Because you grew up a little bit with him, didn't you? Watched him
and Drew McIntyre as well. Because Justin, he'd like Drew was Justin trained Drew when he first started, but Justin won't. He's not really like he doesn't play that big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I weren't biased, who would I'd say that question again? Who would I what?
Who do you enjoy? Like, for instance, if I said to you, right, Mansfield, come around, we're going to have a couple of beers and watch Raw tonight. Who are you most looking forward to watching on Raw?
On Raw.
Or whatever it might be.
Yeah, or either show. Sami Zayn.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's entertaining. He's a good character. Sami Zayn is a good character. Like, he can be serious and then he can like just turn it up a notch as well.
Yeah.
You know? Because he's like one of them. He's like a cowardly villain, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's like he's so entertaining to be so funny. I say Sami Zayn because that's who I look forward to watching. Oh, what's he going to do?
That's great choice.
You know?
He's the one that everyone's watching. It's funny, isn't it? You've got Roman Reigns, you've got Edge and AJ Styles and all these incredible athletes, but people are going crazy for Sami Zayn because of the character. You know, we want to see the characters. Yeah, it's great if you can work, but you've got to be a character as well. That's the thing. I'm always, you know, I like to think I'm pretty bombastic and can cut a good promo and stuff like that. And I always say to guys, like when they ask me for it, because thing is, because I'm old, I think a lot of the guys assume that I've been in the business for like 20 years, and I haven't. I've just watched it my entire life, and I always say to guys, you know, try and be entertaining. You know, show a bit of your personality. A lot of guys hide from that. You know,
I tell you who else I like watching it as well. He's Pretty Deadly. I think they're so cool, like Sam Stoker and Lewis Howley, or what? And that Kit Wilson and Elton Prince in it now.
Yes, yeah.
They are entertaining. I love seeing them two work as a tag team. They are brilliant.
Yeah, and I imagine you were probably around with them because they've worked at Rumble, haven't they, as well?
I didn't see him when there was a Rumble. I saw Lewis when he was at Dropkicks, when he was tagging up with PJ, who died like a few years ago now. He was only young. And I saw Sam Stoker when he was at IPW. And of course he did a bit for UKBW as well. And like even back then, I just see them grow into what they are now. It's like I'm so pleased for them. So pleased for where they've got themselves. You know, I hope they go on to bigger and better things as well, and they get that mania moment as well for them.
That'd be pleasing to see.
Yeah, they have. They've worked really hard. They've really thought about their character work, and their tag team stuff is so brilliant. I love tag team wrestling as well. Tag team wrestling is so underrated as well. You know, because like if you do it right, it's done brilliantly.
There's not that many good tag teams left, is there? Like there's still plenty but they're scattered about. There's not as many in an area. You know, like you got to go 100 miles to find a good tag team, then another 100 miles to find the next one. You know, it doesn't feel like maybe I'm doing that at disservice. There's quite a few coming up. Obviously, the Bryant brothers have the chance to wrestle for 20, 30 years, don't they, together if they want to, things like that. But who's your dream tag team partner now? Like, if you could pick anyone that you've worked with or anyone that you've seen that you haven't worked with, who would you say that's the guy I want to be my tag partner for the next couple of years or so?
It's another good question. God, that's on the British scene now, or
on the British scene now, guy that you could realistically work with. If
on the British scene now, okay, on the British scene now. I'd love. Good God, it's hard to think. There's so many people. Who would I love to have been a tag team with now?
You did the Dorman stuff, didn't you? With Dorman Dom.
Dorman Dom. He's brilliant as a tag partner. He was nervous when he was tagging with me at first, but then he just slowly grew into it a bit more. And like he's like his confidence. He always says to me, he says, "Oh, my confidence is not great." It's not. I said, "No, you're doing all right. You're doing good. Just listen, you're fine." But he's getting there, you know.
Yeah.
It's a shame he's not doing more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really like the two of you, especially when you had Shen Webb as manager as well.
Yeah. Shen's another good one, you know. But you need a singles wrestler, wouldn't you? Because like you got Chuck Mambo and TK Cooper. They have a good team and all.
Yeah, they're fantastic. You got to find someone who fits for you as well, haven't you? You can't just have because you could like
Clayton Moore. He was a good partner.
You
as well.
wrestled with him at Dartford, didn't you, last time?
I wrestled with him at Dartford. Yeah, he was quite good as well. Again, he was young. He's upcoming. He just started. Oh, I know. Mike Bird.
Yeah. He's phenomenal.
He's good. He's really good. As a tag team wrestler as well, he just gets it as well. Like, he was brought up in the area where you see the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll say I'll tag up with Mike Bird.
Mike Bird's a good choice. Yeah, training everyone. He's doing a good job, isn't he? Look at all those guys he's sending down our way to work with us. You know, Kane Lane, Jacob Grady, Jack Kent, Tommy Lawrence. It seems like an endless list of the great wrestlers that are coming through. It looks healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
30 years next year.
30 years.
How long do you feel like, you can keep going?
Well, I'll be 45 in a month's time, or like a little less than a month's time. So if I can go for another 5 years and reach the age of 50, I'll be happy. And then I would like seriously think about, okay, that's enough. I'm 50 now. You know what I mean? Let's just step to one side and call it a day. If I can keep going, I can keep going. I mean, who knows? How long's a piece of string, really? You know what I mean? But I would say like 5 year. I've got a 5 year goal, maybe.
Yeah.
If I can last 5 years, if my body can hold up. If I seriously think I'm going to stink a match out with somebody, if I'm unsafe with anybody, then okay, that's it. I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to wind down. No, but at the moment, I still feel good. I'm still enjoying it. You know what I mean? I always get them butterflies before I go out walk out the curtain. The minute I start losing that, see you later.
Yeah, that means the passion's gone, doesn't it? You don't want to lose
exactly.
that.
Which is always going to be there. It's a part of me. When lockdown happened, God, gee, that was so difficult, really difficult. Because at the time, you see like the Undertaker doing his retirement things and stuff and things like that, and you think, hello, this is going to be me soon. You know what I mean? Like, and you hear the stories when he had the match with Goldberg, and when he landed on his head, and he just watches his match and cringes. You know what I mean? He thinks, oh, is this enough? Is this really it? Have I got? You know what I mean? He always wanted that more. And people, like, you had a lot of critics saying he should retire, and he didn't want to let go. And I understand why, because he's a big part of his life, because he had the Undertaker character right for 30 years himself, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know anything other than wrestling, to be honest. A lot of people don't know about me is that I sacrificed most of my life to chase this dream. Like, there's a lot of parallels between me and you. I was in the postal service for 17 years.
Wow.
I hated it. Fucking hated it. I fucking hated being a postal. Yeah. It was all right at the beginning, and it just got worse and worse and worse, and I just kept hanging on, and and eventually I just said that's enough. Like, honestly, I'll kill myself if I stay here any longer. How is it being a postman as well as being a wrestler? Does it help you? Like, because it's quite a demanding job now. When I first started, it wasn't as demanding, but there's a lot that goes into it now. You're out there for hours upon end delivering mail, delivering parcels, whatever it might be. Do you feel like it helps you, keeps you in some sort of shape?
No, it's crippling me more, I think. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I used to be able to do overtime. I used to be able to do a walk and do half a walk and overtime. But now I can't do that. I mean, the only overtime I do is on my rest days. If I do overtime after work, it'd be doing a late collection drive where I'm driving and not walking constantly.
Yeah.
But I can't do what I used to do when I first started, because everything is got bigger now. All the rounds have got bigger and things like that. You know what I mean? But
pushing you harder and harder, aren't they?
They're just pushing you harder and harder. But at the end of the day, it's bringing in a wage for me as well. You know.
That's true.
And hopefully, and we're in a dispute as well at the moment, and hopefully we'll win that dispute.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so for your sake. So
yeah,
I went through a lot myself. Went through a lot of strikes and that, and it just never got better. It just never got better, and it didn't help that I worked at a very notorious office at the time. Like, it had a lot of, it had a bad reputation. Our office for all sorts of drugs, the whole lot. It was a terrible. Yeah, it wasn't.
Where was this office? I might need to take some.
Well, yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why so many people were transferring in, because they wanted to get stoned. So to calm them down, I don't know. I looked around, and at one point I thought, fuck me, I'm one of the longest serving posties here, and I'm in my 30s. What the fuck? No, there's still guys there that are like 30 plus years still going. I hope you get a job that suits you, mate, because good Lord, the postal service drives me fucking insane. How are you doing with things like social media and stuff like that? Because that's the new game, innit? Let's be honest. That's the thing that, like, obviously, that I run Rumble's YouTube and we put out a lot of footage and I'm editing, and you know me, I'm here, there, and everywhere. You can see it on my Facebook. But, what's it like for someone like you because that wasn't a thing, when you started. We weren't going on Twitter and typing out where we were going to be. We weren't going on Facebook and that. Do you keep up with that stuff?
I'm the world's worst. I'm the world's worst at self-promoting as well. I mean, that's why I never got really many bookings as well. I mean, I need to self-promote a lot more. And I know that I need to self-promote a lot more. And if I put more into self-promotion, I may get more bookings. I may get promoters knocking on the door. You know what I mean? Like collecting any sort of footage and things like that, and then putting it into a package and sending it on. I'm one of the world's worst. That's why I'm just doing what I'm doing, and I'm happy with what I'm doing. But as I said, I like to do more. But all the social media, I'm trying to get used to it. Like posting on my page, and then I've got a Muscles Mansfield page, and I've got a post, and then my mate Justin says, "Have you posted on that?" I said, "No." I said, "You could post on that as well." I said, "What about Twitter? Have you plugged it on Twitter?" I said, "No." Well, plug it on Twitter and then say what you got to say. You know what I mean? Like try and big it up a bit. And I'm the world's worst at doing it. And I need to like do more. I'm learning that even more.
Need
you know
a secretary, mate. That's what you need.
Yeah, I need a secretary. You're right. I need to pay
Get those
someone
young
to be a
whippersnappers to do it. They're fucking lazy. Get them to do it.
Yeah,
they're not standing around and take photos.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Heidi and Becca, I know they're watching. Like,
yeah,
the asses in gear and do more work.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Lazy beggars, honestly.
Yeah,
Kids, respect, mate.
But no, I'm slowly getting there. I'm getting there with it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to understand it a little bit more. You know, but it's there. I mean, a lot of promotions do try and promote their shows a lot more on social media. Whereas back in the day, when you promoted a show, you went out and done postering. You had a load of posters printed up and you posted, and then you flyered as well.
Still works though, doesn't it? Look at Rumble.
Does, yeah.
Look at the postering.
That's
it's
the
the first thing I say to
well.
promoters. Get out there and poster. Stop.
Yeah.
Don't rely on your social media. Postering will get the punters in.
Exactly. I mean, that's what Rumble does so well. Not only does he promote on social media as well, he gets out and posters, which why he has good houses all the time. And it's so lovely to see good houses, especially in this current economic climate as well, what's going on with the cost of living crisis. But he's giving him, again, the promoter is giving families a chance to go out and get entertained, which is so good.
Yeah, no, Rumble really is the best. Before we wrap it up, mate, talk to us about Rumble. Would you say Rumble's home now for you?
Yeah, I'd say Rumble is home for me. Yeah, it's been a nice home for the past. I mean, I've only just started working with Rumble for just over a year now. But yeah, I say Rumble is a nice home to be. It's a nice dressing room, nice promoter to work for. Always have a laugh, always have jokes as well, and it's relaxed. You know what I mean? And you're open and honest as well. You know what I mean? So it's a nice place to be.
Yeah, if I can give one, I mean, I could give many compliments. I love working at Rumble. I get really excited about shows. And the one thing I can say is I've worked with so many companies and there's always been aggro or egos or arguments. There's never that at Rumble, ever.
No.
They treat people properly. It's a proper professional wrestling company.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one of the biggest things as well that a promoter's got to deal with is wrestling. I mean, wrestlers have got tremendous ego or could have tremendous egos. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing that you need to try and curb is like curb your ego. Just be someone.
There ain't no egos at Rumble, really.
Exactly.
We leave it in the ring where it's supposed to be.
That's it. And you do what's good for always do what's good for the show. Like understand where my match is. I mean, this is another advice I could give to like people as well. Understand your place in the card. If a promoter puts you on a place in the card, he's put you on that place for a card for a reason. You know what I mean? And this is what you got to understand. It's like he's not doing it just out of spite. He's doing it because of the card and just how the card's going. So understand what your place in the card is, and then that's where you could like base your match on. You know what I mean?
I've always had the opinion that like I'm blessed if I get to any spot in the card. If it's the curtain jerker, if it's the main event, you know, the spot of doom, they like to say, the second match, doesn't matter to me. That's my spot. Like, that's a spot. So why wouldn't you be happy that you've got a spot at all?
Exactly.
Grateful.
And just understand your place, where your place in the card is. So if you're on the opening match, you're educating the audience to a wrestling show, to this wrestling show. This is the first match. So you don't need to do loads and loads and loads, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you've watched Wrestle Plug much. This might be your first exposure to it. And that's going to be good news for us because we always finish our guest interviews with word association. So I get everyone to send in a list of names from wrestling, and you have to give us one word to describe these individuals. Oh, yes. So we'll get the magic iPad out and we'll have a look. Don't worry, I won't ask you to turn it on. Right, so a list of names here. I won't go through all of them because we got quite a few, but I asked all our friends and family and stuff like that to send in names. One word to describe each person. Are you ready, Mr. Mansfield?
Ready as I'll ever be, but go on, yeah, go on.
All right, one word to describe Shen Wu.
Shenru. Oh, great guy.
That's two.
Oh, sorry.
Great. We'll just go with great.
Great, yeah, great, yeah.
There you go. Or guy. He's a guy.
Yeah.
That'll do. One word to describe Tate Mayfairs.
Showman.
One word to describe Stephen Barker.
Legend.
One word to describe KM Lane.
Talented.
One word to describe Clayton Moore.
One word. I'm trying to think.
This one's trumped you.
Yeah. Clayton Moore. Great.
Fair enough. One word to describe Sid Manelli.
Awesome.
One word to describe Steve McPhoenix.
Old.
Yeah. Still kick my ass, to be fair. Yeah, no, I don't want none of that. I can't believe it still works. Fucking, he's going to die in a wrestling ring, and I hope he takes that in the compliment that I say.
Yeah.
Like,
No, he's such a lovely guy as well, you know.
He's a top quality guy.
He took me right under his wing as well, in a way. You know what I mean? I think if anything happens to him, I'd be devastated.
Yeah, he's for me, he's like the father of professional wrestling to me.
He is.
Like, if I want to talk about something, I'll go and talk to Steve. He's fantastic. Yeah. He really is. Everybody in the Manelli family is phenomenal. One word to describe the photographer, Nicola.
Lovely.
Yeah, I agree with that. She's beautiful. She's a lovely lady. Yeah. One word to describe. But some of these people you may not necessarily be familiar with unless you're proper in with Rumble, but these are people that are really important to the family of Rumble. One word to describe Karen.
Brilliant.
One word to describe Keith. The unit.
Awesome.
He works really hard, doesn't he, Keith?
He works really hard. You know what I mean?
He's
one of these people I always try and I'll make a point of saying hello and goodbye to, because he'll go to a show and pay for a ticket as well. He'll go to another show and pay for a ticket because he just loves watching it. Yeah. But he just works so hard, and he loves it as well. You can always have a laugh with him and all. But yeah, you got to just speak to him and get to know him, and he's brilliant.
Yeah, he's a proper gentleman.
He is.
One word to describe our favourite program, Lady Claire.
Lovely.
Same way that lovely like Nicola, or lovely in a different way?
Just lovely personality, lovely to get on with, you know.
Yeah, full disclosure, they're all amazing people, by the way.
Yeah,
I do not know a better team in wrestling than Rumble.
No.
Incredible people. Most of them
absolutely.
Are amazing. One word to describe the little reprobate.
They've all got their jobs.
Yeah, and they all do their jobs well. Yeah. One word to describe the little reprobate that is Heidi.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass, one word.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love her, but she's annoying little shit.
Bless. I say bless.
Bless, yeah. How about our good friend Becky?
Bless again, bless.
Yeah. Bless. No. Taking photos with them is a nightmare, by the way. Although there's a couple of good ones of you, so fair enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was the highlight of it, taking some modelling photos of you, Sunshine. One word to describe Jake O'Grady.
Nice. Oh, it's going to be 2 words again.
Nice guy.
Nice guy, yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's a proper gentleman, isn't he, Jake?
Gentleman. Yeah, I'll say gentleman there.
I like Jake as well. He feels like a bit
Yeah,
of a throwback in the way he works.
yeah, he is a bit of a throwback, and he's so relaxed as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He gave me a compliment as well when I was wrestling him. He says, it makes a change to work with someone and they're not panicking. They just like, I just go with it and go easy. You know what I mean? I says, well, why am I going to panic? I said to him, I says, yeah, we just work and go easy. You know what I mean?
Big compliment.
Yeah, big compliment. I felt.
Yeah, especially coming from someone who's trained by Mike Bird, and Jake's one of those guys. He's in the gym day in, day out. He's dedicated his life to the business.
I can remember I went down to Mike Bird's gym, and then we did this spot thing, and Mike Bird said to me, he says, how do you get your timing so nice? I says, I don't know. I think it's just my weight, I think. I don't move so fast now. I make everything more deliberate.
I can't move fast, otherwise I fall over.
Exactly.
I'm old as well, mate. Don't worry about it. One word to describe Tommy Lawrence.
Young.
Yeah, painfully young.
Yeah.
As soon as he comes out of his gear, I'm like, oh God, I've missed my opportunity. You're shaming us all looking like that. Yeah. One word to describe Dorman Don.
Brute.
Yeah, he's a bit of a heavy hitter, isn't he, now, boy?
Yeah.
One word to describe the business. Anton and Bruno.
Brilliant.
I like the business a lot.
I love them. They're brilliant. Yeah. Anton goes back into the day of Hammerlock as well. And Gabe Myers, he's just another character. I can always, again, people I can get on with it so easily, but I haven't had any falling outs with anybody, I don't think.
That's good. That's really good. I have. I've upset loads of people. Wrestling's a tough business, isn't it? People are always kind of in it for themselves, but we're lucky. When we're at Rumble, there's none of that.
No, there's always going to be backstabbers, you know what I mean, and things like that, But I think that's what you just got to think. Hey, okay, it's wrestling, you know what I mean.
Don't take it personally. Move on to the good people. Like that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Don't take anything personal. Take it with a pinch of salt. Be nice. You know what I mean. If you're nice to people, they're going to be nice to you back. You know what I mean. If you're going to treat them horribly or speak badly of anybody, what are you going to expect? You know what I mean. If you got a gripe or anything like that, have it out of them. You know what I mean. Don't say things behind people's backs when it's not nice, is it? You know what I mean. You don't need to slate people off.
Nah. If you don't like someone, don't talk to them.
Exactly.
Date around and go around the room and just ignore them for the rest of the night. Right?
And ultimately, you've got to put that professional back into professional wrestling.
Exactly.
All professionals. You've got to be all professionals to be in this game, or to be in the wrestling business. You've got to be professional at all costs. Have a laugh, have a joke with people, but also be a professional.
Yeah. That should be the slogan for Rumble because everyone does that. Everyone does that. I love that. One word to describe Nino Bryant.
Talented.
Yeah. Got a big head on his little shoulders, bless him.
Yeah.
Smart kid. Very smart.
Yeah.
One word to
I'd love to work with him as well.
What's that, mate?
I'd love to work with him as well.
I wouldn't. I'll be gassed within 30 seconds.
No, I'll slow him down.
Hit him in the face. All right, slow down, boy.
Yeah. One boot, boom, down you go.
Less of that. Just body slam him. That's what I'd do. I'd just be like, no, shoulder block, sit down.
Yeah.
Not having any of that nonsense.
Exactly.
You can do the flipping at the end. Go away.
Yeah.
One word to describe his little brothers, Ander.
Again, talented.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? They're tiny as well, aren't they?
They are really tiny, but they're so nice.
They can take the punishment as well.
They can, and they're such a young age as well. They'll develop when they get old, and they'll develop more. And if they get a bit more size on them as well, they could go far.
Yeah, smart kids.
If they work hard at it, they'll go far, and they you know what I mean. So no, them two are really good. I like them.
Last one for you, mate.
Cool.
One word to describe Adam Muscles Mansfield.
Legend.
I agree. I agree. Absolutely. Would you like to come back on the Wrestle Plug at some point, mate?
I'd love to come back on the Wrestle Plug. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you and talking to your adoring fans as well.
Yeah, all 10 of them. No, there's a few more. I do them a disservice. We're always giving each other shit, me and the fans. But, hate mail aside, I love what I do. And I love having people like yourself on. As a quick aside, when I get to Rumble, I never feel nervous or anxious. It's the only place where I don't. It's the only place where I feel truly comfortable. I think this is going to be a great day.
Yeah.
Wrestling with great people, and one of the big reasons for that is people like yourself who are always really easy to chat to, fun to be around, and also great hardworking professionals. So thank you very much, mate, for
Thank you very much
for our business. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I've met a lot of veterans who are, let's be honest, have big leagued me or just kind of thought, yeah, whatever, who's this fat guy with a camera? Nobody wants to talk to him. But whenever I speak to you, always give me your time, and I appreciate that very much. And I can learn a lot from you, and I think a lot of the other guys really appreciate you as much as I do as well, mate.
Oh, so, it's a pleasure. It's a real pleasure as well. I mean, I always like to. I mean, as I said, like everybody wants to break into it, and everybody wants to come into it for a reason. So, to create a nice atmosphere for people, and not to have that ego. Well, I don't think I've got that big ego. You know what I mean? But it's like, again, it's having that philosophy. You like talk to people how you want to be spoken to, and treat people how you want to be treated. And I go back towards my coaching. I'm also a coach, one of the coaches at Play Fight Wrestling School.
Yeah, when's training?
So it's all online. So you go into Playfight, or look up Play Fight, Wrestling Play Fight. I can't remember the website, but it's on the website. Right? So, yes, in Southeast London. Yeah.
I'm looking for something to train.
Yeah, it's a nice place to be. They do open houses and things like that, and they do like grade 1s and grade 2s. And they have like a beginner's session as well. Excellent. So you can go in as a beginner's session, and then you go up to grade 1s, and you can learn all different stuff. And then you go up to grade 2s and things like that. You know what I mean? And then you'll go on further as well. But it's such a great place to be, a nice place to be as well. They welcome anybody and all comers, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you are, who you are. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just come down and then just give it a go. There's loads of great coaches, not just myself. There's Tom, there's Spike Travail, Simon, he teaches as well. You've got Nina Samuels, Sam Allen, she coaches down there. Tom's other half, Claire, as well. She coaches down there as well.
So who's wrestling?
Danny Black,
Danny
Chuck Mambo, TK Cooper. You know what I mean? So there's such an amazing team down there that will take you under their wing, or will look after you and coach you in the right way. And it's a nice and relaxed atmosphere as well. So get yourself down there. You know what I mean? If you want to take it up, and just welcome to the crazy world of wrestling.
I know, right? You will never look back. We'll provide links in the description of the podcast for anyone who does want to train. Same with your social media as well. Dare I ask you what your social media is?
So it's my social media. I've got a Muscles Mansfield page on Facebook, as well as my own page on my own page as well, Adam Mansfield. I've got an Instagram account as well. Don't know what that one is.
That's right, we'll get it.
But you can find me on Instagram. And I'm on Twitter as well. It's I think Man77, at Man77. So I'm on that. I try and get on that as much as I can as well. So I'll get better at social media. I promise I'll get better at social media and start posting more.
Send me a message, mate. We'll chat. Like that's what I do for a living.
Please, if I could have that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be the 15th Facebook account I run. Bloody hell. Yeah, I'm always being asked to look after guys in that regard. I love doing it though, and I love helping out guys who maybe aren't as tech savvy. That's my thing. So, yeah, but all those things.
I will be in contact.
Absolutely, I look forward to it, mate. Honestly, you can message me anytime. All those links are available in the description, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Mansfield, thank you very much for coming on the Wrestle Plug, mate. Let's have you back very, very soon to chat more about what you're doing at Rumble and whatnot.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure and it's been awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure, mate. Look after yourself. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.